Hey, Ginger here. I wanted to do a homeschool update for May. We finished off our first month of kindergarten, and I am super excited. We did so many activities, and a lot of things flopped, but a lot of things did not flop. And she's on her way to reading, and I'm so excited. So let me give you an overview. I did do a daily sheet, and we're doing a ton of game schooling. So if we just zoom in on our first day of school, we did creative form drawing, lesson 1. We did a poem, a diller, a dollar. We did a story, a Nancy Rides Tiger. We did readers, Bob's Books, Mac, and Dick and Jane, Come and Ride. We listened to the digraph song, and I found that one on YouTube, and it includes all of those digraphs. We played Roll For It, Skip Bow, and Super Y ABC letter game. We also did some physical education, some outdoor time on her scooter. Now, we did continue with form drawing for a while. And my daughter's only 5.5, and technically you're supposed to start the creative form drawing book at age 6. And I can see why, because we ended up having some hiccups, and so we ended up changing what we were doing because it was just not working for us. And I got stuck, and we weren't progressing, so we set it aside. On May 23rd, we changed to Introduction to Numbers, Lesson 1. And that was a huge hit. We just finished that up today in June. Other things that were not a hit that she got tired of was readingbear.org. So instead of doing that one, which I kind of had some reservations on it, there were things like tank. Why does she need to see a tank? Why couldn't they use a fish tank and not like a military vehicle? It was weird. So there were some weird things about that. Also, it is not a secular website. Disclaimer, readingbear.org is not a secular website. So we switched over and we started doing, down here in games, Teach My Monster to Read. That is also free. She has some problems with it, but she likes it a lot more than the readingbear.org, which she did do quite a bit of, and then she changed her mind. Which I'm okay with, because I always like to find things that will work for everybody, or for us, to make us happy. Let's see, what else? Okay, so we were doing very, very strict games. Like I was saying, okay, well, we have to do math and letter games. So at day 1, you'll see we did Roll For It, which is very mathematical. Skip Bow, which is very mathematical. Super Y, which is very, it's got digraphs and things in it, letters. And then you'll see as we flip over to the end of May, well, you can see kind of how I've changed our games a little bit. And you'll see that we did Sight Word Go Fish, which is great. She had a blast during that. She knows almost all of her Dolce preschool words now. We've moved on to the kindergarten ones. Mystery Mansion. Now that is just a really fun game, but it helps you think spatially, logically, and there's cards that have letters on them that you have to read, so she needs help with those, but that's fine. And then you'll see that down here we've got Agricola Family Edition, and then she wanted to do the ice cream cone number match, which she did great on. And then we played Cacao and Sequence. And there's no reading in Cacao, but there's a ton of math, and she's getting really good at trading in her 1 coins for 5s and her 5 coins in for 10s. So I consider that totally math, even though those are fun games that I did not have listed as games for us. And then Hotels, which I absolutely love. She needs some help with the math of like buying properties and that kind of stuff, but she enjoys it sometimes. Some things that she initiated was greater than, less than, and the math. She's got a really strong basis for that now. Okay, here we go. Here's some art. There's cut and painted a beanstalk. So we cut and painted toilet paper tubes, or she cut. I think she cut one of the leaves and I cut the rest. And then I hot glued them together and we made a beanstalk so that we could act out Jack and the Beanstalk for the 15th over here. But also some other games that you wouldn't necessarily think of as learning games, Sail Away and Carcassonne, they both are on here, and I just figured any game we play has some sort of merit that I can figure out later, or that really is logical thinking, which is great. I know adults that have problems playing Carcassonne, me included. No, I finally figured out how to play, and I am so proud of myself, because it's a great game. This is her To the Zoo book. So I wrote the words, and then she traced. That's all hers. Tracing. She didn't want to at first, and I just kept reminding her that she needed to get it done. And she did a great job. I couldn't be more proud. I feel her handwriting is really coming along. And then she wanted to write her name, which she kind of messed up on her E, but that's fine. She's little, and I didn't trace that. She wrote that on her own. So these little pockets, they come out. You glue in the little pockets. I folded them, she glued them, and then I cut out the little animals, and I glued them onto cardstock so they were a little stiffer. And then you match them up. But you can count the snakes. 9 snakes. And they're all so adorable. I thought about maybe putting a string so that they couldn't run around, but we played zoo and it was so much fun. We got the blocks out to make some pens. Actually, I think we used colored pencils to make some pens. And then we played zoo. It was so much fun. For the poems and for the stories, we got through Rumpelstiltskin and Little Boy Blue, which was on par for how far I wanted to be along at this point through the What Your First Grader Needs to Know book from 1996. I think it's 96. This is from our form drawing, lesson number 1. And then I did kind of change how we were doing it again, because I wanted her handwriting to be a little more consistent. She loved the rainbows, and I really think this one came out so great. She wanted to continue doing rainbows, so she got out another sheet. Oh, more handwriting practice, so she traced these. This is where we started having the hiccup. So we will go back to this maybe when we are done with our shape slap book, which is what we're currently working on right now. We did a word search. And these weren't traced, so she actually had to write these on her own for Peter Rabbit. And then I started doing the Waldorf Make Your Own lined paper. And this is where she really started excelling, because you can see that she's getting it now. Here, let me show you these, because that's when we started, Mama started getting frustrated. On May 22nd here. So on May 23rd, we switched over to introducing the numbers. And this is her 1, her Roman numeral 1. And this is her Roman numeral 2. See, it's a doorway. It's got a doorknob and everything. And this is Roman numeral 3. We got the 3 people. And her Roman numeral 4, we did a horse. And then I have her rewrite all the previous numbers, and then we move on here. She did have some issues with both of the stars. She wanted to trace my star here on 5, and then over here, she did okay with this one actually. And then this was the rainbow, and her handwriting is already getting so much better. She's learning about the silent E in June, which is fantastic because we hadn't really gone over it, but when we swapped over from May into June, she's writing the silent E, and so now she knows about silent E, which is great because any way that I can incorporate teaching in different mediums instead of having to teach each individual thing is going to make everything slide together so much quicker. And that's really my aim, is to have it be thorough, consistent, and I don't want to be spending so much time on school. We want it nice and quick. This one is the spider and the spider's web, 8. We got to talk about this fun word here, how EI is A, and then the GH is silent, and then the T, so that was fun. And this here is her number 9. And this is, Snow White and Rose Red meet a man, and he gives them a map. And this is the map here. We get a closer look, and there's 10 rocks. So the X is near the 10 rocks. Oh, and here's her tree. So we're getting some shade from the tree, and we're looking at our map for 11. And then down here, we found the treasure, and she did way more than 12 pieces of treasure, but that's okay. This is her treasure. She dug it up, and she found it. And I guess that's it. Tell me how your schooling is going, if you are schooling year-round, or if you don't school year-round. Are you guys enjoying your summer vacation? All right, well, thanks so much for watching, and creativity is contagious. Pass it on.